Hey there, guys. We're back.
Yeah,
Welcome back to AM Industries, some more Civ 5. It's your boy, Akirasora.
yeah, and your other boy Mabeanie.
We're back to slow roll this game.
Back to
Well, I'm
Mabeanie
back to
Heads.
slow roll this game.
We've also just discovered that Frank doesn't have Brave New World, the Brave New World expansion pack, and so that's why we can't do some of the fun things that normally you get to do in Civ 5. So
Gotcha.
why can't he just sleep? Why isn't that an option?
Because, he doesn't want
What
to.
if I?
He's not tired yet.
He's not tired.
You can only sleep in your bed at nighttime.
He's basically just woken up. That's what he does in between turns. He has a sleep. Anyway, my idea for how to make our commentary and content more interesting is that we would ask each other questions. So my first question is very basic. What's your favourite colour, Frank?
Now, see, this is a question that I actually have trouble answering.
Oh.
Partially due to how it's changed slightly over time. If you had asked me when I was a lot younger, as like a kid, me would just say red. But now it's kind of a three-way tie between black, blue, and purple.
Is black a colour?
Some people think it's not. Some people think that it still technically counts because you make
It's
things
still a...
black.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah,
So it's like the darker and intense colours.
Uh, as for a little bit more of a shading, I prefer a darker blue and a more lavender purple. Are the two shades that I would prefer of those two main colors.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna hit you right back with the same question. What's your
Okay.
favorite color?
I just like your basic bitch blood red.
Mm, respectable.
Yeah.
Respectable.
I mean, most of my icons for such a long time have been red. I like using red a lot in a lot of the imagery that I do. And it's pretty much my go-to colour whenever I think of a colour. And I like heat as well. Although, I don't like... I don't... I, the more I think about it, the more I have to question myself. When I think, oh, I like it when it's hot, but I actually don't. I like it when it's warm. I hate it when it's hot because you can't reduce the heat.
Yep.
But I like red things. I think they're cool.
Yeah, that is definitely respectable.
Yeah. And when
I
and when I was a kid, I used to think that like when you're a boy, you just have to decide, right? It's either red or blue. You don't get a choice of any other color. It's
Yeah,
red
you
or
don't want
blue.
you don't want to be that kid that says my favorite color is green or yellow because then people think you're weird.
Yeah, like Ayasenamata, he's a weird person. That's the real problem.
But what you were saying before with like preferring it to be warm rather than hot? I definitely prefer it to be cool or cold rather than even warm or hot.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, that's where I was going with that thought was in terms of weather. I like it to be cold because I can prepare and I can work against that and like put on jumpers or put on a scarf or something,
yeah,
put on a beanie and I can work with that. But when it's hot, you just take clothes off. That's the best you can do. You can put
yeah,
a fan on and it can do so much, but
and
it's
then
not gonna do
not to
everything.
mention the only downside of being cold is you're cold and you shiver. The
Yeah,
downside of it being too hot is you sweat buckets and it's disgusting.
you could get frostbite though.
Well, I mean, yeah, if it gets if it gets that cold, that's a little extreme though. But
Yeah.
yeah, but if it gets like even like a little hot, you start to just sweat everywhere, and then it just gets really gross. Meanwhile, cold, you're just chilly, you just go burr.
Alright, here's a question that might go just nowhere. What did you want to be when, like, what was your ambition that you wanted to have? Like, what did you want to be when you grew up, when you were a kid?
Oh, that's pretty easy. It was to either be a game designer or a game tester. Most
When
of
did
the,
you come up with that?
huh?
Like, when did you decide that that was what you wanted to be?
Uh, Trying to think. Pretty early on, I want to say around probably 9 or 10. I've
Mm.
always found it like interesting, um, because when I was, I obviously grew up around video games, around the uh, N64 generation, and there were so many of my favorite games that I enjoyed playing so much. It's like, man, these guys are really cool. They can make this thing that's like super entertaining and can like bring make people like happy and stuff like that. And then it got a little more cemented. I want to say around seventh grade, I think, is when I started dabbling in a little bit of coding,
Oh.
but that never really paid off into anything because I never really got around to like buckling down and learning the coding language for the platform. But I did try dabbling in some things a little bit around eighth grade, and then in when I moved to Australia, uh,
Well,
I
you did a bit
think,
of RPG Maker, whatever it's called.
yeah, when I first moved to Australia, I picked up RPG Maker, and
Yeah.
I had actually started making my own little RPG game in it, and got around. For like the basis of laying everything out, I had gotten around a one-third of it done, but then I ended up losing everything on that computer. I never really got around to starting over again.
Yeah, because one of my goals at the moment is I want to make 5 games this year, and like my idea of a game is a thing that does a thing in programming. So like you put in some sort of input, and then you get a result of some kind, and that's the game.
Right.
And so that's just to make it so that I've it's not too hard to scare me away from doing it, but it is something that not only I know I can do, but also something that I can set as a foundation for whatever the next step is. And so, yeah, because that's what I want to be ultimately. So I want to have my own game design company. Because I got all my ideas still, and I'm getting better at writing and thinking about those sorts of things. And so I just need to do it really. Problem is, I need to have a job, I need to have money to survive on, and so I need to do those things.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it has to start off. For most people, it has to start off as like a very small side project that takes a while for it to actually bloom, and then once it actually
Mm.
starts to kick in, like then they can actually move on to fully doing it.
Yeah.
And like even looking back on the RPG game I made, like I only really had like the start of it set out, and then like just the basic layouts of the themes for the dungeons for it. It's like looking back on it, I only got like the easiest like first third of the game done, let alone like actually making a story that would be that people would enjoy more likely than not. uh and then also finding some semblance of balance when I had, especially at the time, had no real like grasp of what is a good balance for things.
Yeah.
uh,
You just sort of go, oh, this is fun, and then do it.
yeah.